as a technologist, if someone's not tech savvy, how do we even navigate this market or casino, as you call it, of all these options in tech?
I have been trying to figure that out, and Kim has laughed at me many times when I've told her some of my little stories or horror stories. Well, I've been thinking about this for many years now, and my conclusion is, in the old days, we all would have to go to a store, a retail store, and there was a sales manager that was responsible for the chain, and they would bring in products that they personally would vouch for. And I remember working in a computer store where the sales manager insisted that every product that was in his store be tested. So we could have vendors come in and show the sales manager the product, and he would test it. He would have our engineers come and test it. And we wanted to make sure that what we were putting an ad out on was actually real. And we used to do that. So I think that since we've now gone to, by far and large, really internet consumerism, we have forgotten about that. And because it's no longer transparent, that purchasing idea that you're meeting with someone to actually transact and do a transaction, everything's virtual, no one seems to have the heart or care enough to realize that that quality control is super important. And I don't think Amazon is capable of doing the quality control they need to do, which is, if a product comes back returned, I wonder how many times they would test 3 or 4 more of the products to see if the product genuinely is bad. I don't think they have the time to do it. So ultimately, I think we're suffering from our own genius of building so many products, making it super easy to buy them, super easy to return, and at the same time, allow vendors to game the system because they've already come out with their next revision before they even have to deal with improving the current product.
Right.
And I would say that's the same thing with gaming today. By the time they come out with a AAA game, by the time it's actually bug-free is by the time they're coming out with the next version. So we never really get a good version of anything anymore. Mm-hmm. We get a pre-trial or a beta version of something. And what's worse, none of us, because we put things on a schedule for profit, and these games and everything have to come out on a time schedule, we have really destroyed craftsmanship. The idea that we care about what we produce. I would argue that Apple today does not feel the same way they do about their products as they did back in the 80s when they were first doing it, because I suspect by now it's routine. The same for Microsoft and the same for all these tech giants. And you know what? In my job, the same thing occurred to me in my career. Was I realized that after a while, you can easily fall into a terrible rut of actually taking everything for granted, just assuming that it's always the norm. But ultimately, we have really dug ourselves into a hole. We've got to figure out a way now to make products that are sustainable, meaning that you can replace batteries and parts when they break. If we have the technology to make this ultra thin iPad, perhaps we have the technology to make this iPad just a little less thin, but allow us to change out components. Oh, I forgot though. No one wants to do that because that means we won't be buying as many products. And capitalism's based on
consumption.